Let's cut up the back quarter of an elk. First thing I like to do, this is a pretty fat elk. If you like the taste of elk, then you can put this in your hamburger. If not, you can trim it and just throw it. This particular piece of fat has quite a bit of hair on it, so it's just going away. All right. This one is actually a really clean animal. Not a lot of hair, leaves, dirt, anything like that. So I'd kind of go through, look for, there's a little bit of hair and dirt right there. So you can just kind of cut it off like that. That outer membrane's great for that. Okay. A bit more right there. So it's a pretty clean animal. But this is the stage where you want to go through and do that. Okay, once you've got it cleaned up, then what we're going to want to do is try and separate it. Get some of this fat out of here. I'm going to want to try and separate it right through the joint. I think that's okay. So right into here and then back up this way. A lot of time, if I'm quartering an elk in the field, this is what I'll do. So right here, the hip bone is a problem. Then you're just following the pelvis here on the bottom side. Sorry, you can't see that very well. And then just kind of, there's bone that comes out right about here. You can kind of feel it. Just going to go around that. Then back in here. And I like to try and keep as much of this together as I can. Pop off like that. And then just going to follow this seam. Around like so. If you're doing it in the field, you'll actually, rather than do it like that, you actually come into here and then pop it. And if you know the hip really well, you can kind of dodge the bones. I do this once or twice a year, so I don't know my bone structure as well as I would like. So then you just kind of come into here, and down in here is going to be a ball socket, but you can kind of feel it here. So then you're just going to come around like that, and then around like this. Once you make it around the ball socket, then it's home free. So keep cutting this way. When you have the whole animal, you can kind of use that to your advantage when you're dealing with just a quarter. It'll move around on you a lot. So then just going to come through here and then separate around that ball socket. And you'll feel it start to give. Not strictly necessary to do it when you've got it in the quarter, because you can just pop your quarters off. But if you're in the field, you definitely want to do that, because that's how you're going to free up that quarter. All right. So now, since I don't have to do this in the field, I'm not going to dull up my knife at this stage of the game, pulling that out of there. So now you can see you just have different muscle groups. So I'm just going to follow that muscle group just like cutting a ham or anything else. All right, so there's a couple roasts right there. Another muscle group right here. Right back. And then whether you keep the fat on them or not is completely up to you. I find they don't dry out as much if they have the fat on them. Then back up into here. That can all be hamburger. All right, then you got this bone that comes right across here. Just gonna go on the back side of that. And then if you've removed the ball socket, then this is actually pretty easy, because you can just manipulate around it. There we are. There we go. So it really is easier. You have the whole animal. Okay. So that's what your ball socket looks like once you got it like that. Now, just cut down that bone. So now we've got a couple different roasts. Like, that's probably 2 roasts right there. Then another muscle group here. Pull out all that connective tissue where the ball socket was. I'll just go into hamburger. I don't like to waste much, so I put most of it into hamburger. You can be a little bit more picky, I guess, but that's how I roll. Then and all these roasts have names and stuff, but I don't know what they are. I just cut them into chunks and then they get labeled rump roast or shoulder roast. I know rump roasts don't have to cook as long. Shoulder roasts have to cook for a while. So there's another rump roast. This guy here is probably, you might be able to jerky him. Maybe he'll be a roast. Yeah, I think that guy's just hamburger. Then you got the back side here. Just gonna follow the pelvis along, and then cut through there. Time to remove all that connective stuff. Back in here, there's a big bone right there. Let's go away. Got a little bit of dirt and stuff on that fat, so trim that out of there. And then trim all that off. Again, seeing a little bit of hair. I got some hair right in here. Just trim all that out of there. Lose a little bit of meat that way, but nobody likes to end up with hair on their roast. So if you're doing it all in a sterile packing house, you could get a lot less hair on your game, but not. So one of the things that happens. And there I have the back quarter all boned out. Then I'll just chop this up into different roasts. That's how I go about it. Once you get the leg deboned, this is what it should look like. Right in here, there's a lot of tendon and bone, so it's hard to get those last little pieces. And where this tendon's at, that'll mess up your grinder if you run too much of it through there. But that's what it should look like. This came off of here. I will label this actually as an arm roast rather than a rump roast. Then the other muscle groups ended up right in here. And then here I ended up with 11 rump roasts and a arm roast. So 12 roasts. Obviously, like this is a pretty big roast right here. This would be like a company roast, and then some of these smaller ones would be like family dinner roasts. You can cut them up however your family would eat them. Let's cut our steaks and make some hamburger meat.